No way. I have 2 subscribers! Oh, you like me. You really, really like me. This isn't sarcasm, by the way. I was worried that I wouldn't get any views on my videos for a long time, much less subscribers. Please share my videos with your brony brethren. Now that my spazzing and shameless self-promotion is out of the way, let's review I guess I'll call it a mid-season special. And for this episode, I need to travel into the dream realm. The hell is that? Whoa!
Are you feeling restless at night? Being kept awake by monster attacks, one of Pinkie Pie's parties, or your own subconscious? Well, I have the product for you. Silverquill, patent pending. The first and only nightmare-preventing sleep aid. Yes, with just a few tablespoons of this, you'll be out faster than Equestria Girl's popularity. With minimal to no horrifying side effects. Hippogriff tested, Luna approved. Now in berry punch flavor. Side effects may include amnesia, night terrors, headaches, dizziness, speaking in tongues, and Rupert Murdoch.
That was weird, but whatever. I still have a review to do. Ah, here we are. Finally, we get a Luna episode that actually involves her character development. Ever since she started helping the CMC, she's been stuck in this mode that's basically the same as Celestia, except it's more hands-on and personal. We haven't been able to see her as the flawed and mysterious princess which put her on the map in the first place. Now, I'll admit that her original personality from Nightmare Night was fun, but I don't think she should always be that way. Clearly she's matured a good bit off screen considering it's been around a year since her return. She must have gone through some intense reintegration classes. With the exception of the little bit during the 100th episode, the Luna that we've seen has been so disconnected and I had honestly lost interest, but this episode lit my Luna flame anew. I mean, it is just heartbreaking to think that Luna, the princess of the night, has been punishing herself with nightmares every single night out of guilt. How does she not fall asleep during the day if she can never get a good night's sleep? When this episode first started, I honestly thought I was watching the second half of a 2-parter. I actually paused the video to check and make sure I hadn't missed anything. Granted, this episode probably should have been a 2-parter, but I'll get into that later. After I turn the TV back on, we are introduced to the Tantabus, which at first seems to trigger the Nightmare Moon transformation in Luna. When the Tantabus escaped, did anyone else think that we were gonna get into the Nightmare Rarity story arc from the comics? I really hope we get into that one day. I want to see that animated so badly. Before we continue, I just want to say that I want Luna's bed. And those lamps, and her slippers. Don't judge me. Cut to the main 6 on a pet grooming day, but they all look terribly exhausted. After some pet hijinks, the main 6 discover that they all had an eerily similar nightmare.
Huh, I wonder why I didn't have that nightmare. I slept great!
Shut up, Meg.
They contact Luna via Dragonfire instant messaging.
You've got mail.
Which of you saw the creature of blue smoke in your nightmare?
Wow, I guess Luna can teleport too.
We all did. Not me!
Shut up, Meg.
Luna explains that the Tantabus is something like a nightmare virus and it spread into the main 6. This setup is reminding me of something. What could it be?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. So what you're saying is, you dreamt about all of them and not me?
Shut up, Meg. You don't matter.
The crew journey back into Twilight's castle for a sleepover. Random thought, I wonder what would have happened if one of the main 6 dreamed of Discord. What would Discord's nightmares be? Ah! Kill it with fire! Kill it! I I don't know why, but I find this little hair tug to be utterly adorable. And Spike has some real backbone to tug on the hair of Luna of all ponies. Especially since I don't think they've ever actually spoken to each other directly in the show. I guess Luna just isn't that intimidating compared to her sister. Once everyone is asleep, Luna extends her glowing magic tentacles and invades the dream of the main six. First up is Rarity, and she dreams of mass production! And the Tantabus turns the dresses into monsters.
Forget avant-garde! I should have said en-garde!
In this scene, we see that Tantabus grows right after Luna put herself down, and I'll admit that I completely missed that on my first viewing. I actually went back to see if it actually grew whenever Luna said something about her guilt. The Tantabus went into Pinky's dream next, and apparently she is as ADD in her dreams as she is when she's awake. The only thing that keeps her focused is... Of course, just like with the dresses, the Tantabus turns those into monsters as well. Next, we hop into Fluttershy's dream and we get fanfiction fuel for the next few months.
So nice to be the pet for once.
First she wants to be a tree, and now a pet. What's next? A bird? No! No! You get out of here, you are not welcome! The Tantabus decides to show us Angel's final form before it gets chased into AJ's dream by Luna. Of course AJ's dreaming of apples. What else is on her mind? There's nothing interesting that happens here, so I'm just gonna skip to Rainbow Dash's dream. And apparently Rainbow Dash wants to be an action movie star or something. Maybe she's been reading a few too many Daring Do books. When the Tantabus shows up, it decides to try and traumatize Rainbow Dash.
We are such happy flowers. We will now sing for hours. Aren't we unbearably cute? Watch me solo on jazz flute.
Ugh. Well, I guess now we know that Rainbow Dash has something in common with Frieza. If you haven't seen the new Dragon Ball Z movie, then you won't really get that reference. Next, we get Twilight's dream of reading books in a library. Yeah, you're real imaginative, Twilight. Here is my dream ranking from the most interesting to the least. I guess the creators wanted to save the real shenanigans for the second half. The main six wake up and are rightfully traumatized. Also, did you really need to hide that comic when everyone else was asleep? Or is that not a comic? Ew. Hey, this image looks really familiar. Wait. No way! Twilight is an agent of Aku! Someone call Jack over here, now! Haha, just kidding. Or am I? Just as they were about to probably try again, Pinkie Pie says that she dreamed of everyone in Ponyville after Luna left, which means that the Tantabus could get into the dreams of literally anyone in Ponyville. Some may want to fault Pinkie on this, but since she was dreaming, it's not actually her fault. Though given her usual abilities and awareness, you would think she could lucid dream. After a miniature panic attack from Luna, they come up with a plan of action. They decided to get Luna to create a giant shared dream for all of Ponyville. Once everyone is asleep, Luna uses her glowing tentacle powers on everyone in town. Unfortunately, this leaves her too weak to do anything, and the job of hunting down the Tantabus is left up to the main six. Now, I know that most of you have already noticed most of the references in this episode, so I'm just gonna point them out briefly. Giant muffins, cat dog, a cross between Nightmare Before Christmas and the Cheshire Cat, Dr. Hooves, Flutterbat, Little Shop of Horror, Princess Big Mac, Spike's Night Form, Silver Surfer, Scootaloo Flying, Power Ponies, and the library's restoration. Now that that's out of the way, let's get back into the episode. The main six begin by rescuing the other ponies from the Tantabus's creations, though I'm not sure why. It's not like any physical harm comes to any of the ponies. The worst that would happen is that they wake up. Even if someone woke up, it wouldn't really matter since the Tantabus can only travel into dreams. Actually, why didn't they just wake up the entire town and then just have one person be asleep? Well, I guess we wouldn't have all of this epicness if they did that, so I guess I can give it a pass. The main six actually start fighting the Tantibus when they see that it's starting to escape into the real world. Once they see that they're too weak, they decide to ask the other ponies for help. It seems like asking for help is a running theme in this season. Luna has another guilt trip which causes the Tantibus to get even bigger, and Spike of all people is the first one to notice. I had no idea he was so observant. Now here is the climax and the biggest problem I have with this episode. Luna confesses to creating the Tantibus as a way to punish herself for becoming Nightmare Moon and harming Equestria. Now let's look back. How much damage did Luna actually do to Equestria? She damaged her castle, left the moon duties to Celestia, and left ponies to deal with their own nightmares. She honestly didn't cause much harm for what she did. Also, for someone who spent over a year feeling guilty and punishing herself every night, she got over this really quickly. It's just like, hey, stop feeling guilty. Okay. I know that they had time constraints, but the resolution is harmed because of it. Which is why I present to you the Big Fix! This is a segment of the review where I explain what I think should have happened in order to make the episode better. Number 1. Make it a two-parter episode. The first episode could have been everything that happened before the shared dream, except with a little bit more room to expand upon what happened with the fears of the main six. I also think they should have had the Tantibus invade Celestia's dream as well. Her worst fear could have tied into the episode by showing how guilty she felt for allowing Luna to become Nightmare Moon in the first place, which in turn would have made Luna feel even more guilty after seeing it. The second episode would have been the shared dream and the conclusion, where we could have seen some Rarity and Pinkie Pie action since it seems that they were cut for time or were just overlooked. And Celestia could have been there helping Luna keep the dream together by giving her energy or something. We've seen that alicorns can transfer their own magic, so I don't see why energy would be any more difficult. When they found out the reason behind the Tantibus, the main six could have done all of their little speeches about Luna forgiving herself, thrown in a flashback about Luna getting along with the citizens, and they could have ended with a heartfelt speech from Celestia which would have finally convinced Luna to forgive herself. The rest of the episode could have been exactly the same. And that brings me to number 2! Luna's reason for feeling guilty. As I said before, Luna's betrayal didn't actually cause much harm to the kingdom, but it did cause a lot of harm to the closest pony to Luna, her only family, Celestia. Most of the physical and emotional burdens fell squarely on her shoulders. She had to banish her sister. She had to deal with the guilt. She had to raise the moon and the sun every night. She had to run an entire kingdom without anyone to confide in. It would have made so much more sense for Luna to be broken up about how much pain and anguish she caused her own sister, which would have put more weight on the speech that Celestia would have made. It would have also given Celestia some screen time and some much needed characterization. Alas, such a story shall never be. C'est la vie. All in all, this was a great episode. It made me laugh, it gave me feels, and it made me slightly uncomfortable. I give it a 9 out of 10. Now that everything is taken care of, I wonder what I can do in this dream. Ah, yeah. But something is still missing. Now that's more like it. See y'all next time!